What is up everyone, back again doing another ranking video today, ranking every team's best player. So all 30 teams will be ranked today off their best player. We're going to have it in the top, we're going to have 5 tiers, so the top 6 players will go into the top one, 7 to 12 on the second one, and then obviously the worst 6 will go in the bottom tier. So I haven't got it the same as before because I can't put the last tier something bad, because obviously if they're the best player in the team they're not bad. So you'll see what I mean. But I'm just going to rank them in order, so top 6 players, and then we'll go down through the list. First up, I've got Devin Booker. Now, sorry for that. Devin Booker, I have him at 13 to 18. And when I was doing this list, I thought Devin Booker probably 7 to 12. But when you actually look at it, it doesn't make sense to put him in with the players that I've got on 7 to 12. So a few of these people you're probably looking at like, why are they there? But when you actually visually see them all at the end, so like when the video ends, you'll understand what I mean, because like the players will fit in based on, in comparison to the other ones. It's not like the last tier list I did where it can be a random amount in each one. Next up, I've got Zion. This was tricky. I put him in 19 to 24 because of the injuries. Obviously he hasn't had a full season. He played 24 games last year, only just started this year playing. Hopefully he can get more minutes and everything, but right now I couldn't put him up with the likes of Devin Booker, for example. I think I had to put him 19 to 24, but he's probably top end of 19 to 24 if we're going to be completely fair to him. And you've got John Wall. This was an easy enough one. I've got him 25 to 30, and probably near enough the lower end, maybe around the middle of 25 to 30, around 27. I just don't rate him. It was actually a toss up between him and Oladipo now, but I've gone with John Wall, and I'd say I don't think I could put him anywhere else. I don't think that's going to be a debatable decision, if I'm honest. And for Jimmy Butler, and I looked up pictures of Jimmy Butler, and this was one of the ones that came up. I had to use it. I've got him 7 to 12. I love Jimmy Butler. Doesn't have maybe that talent or that superstar power as some of the players in 1 to 6, or even some of the players in the tier that he's in. Such a good basketball player. Has to go 7 to 12. Zach LaVine. I love Zach LaVine, but I've got him 19 to 24. I think if he went to a bigger team, he might not be on this list because he might not be the best player on that team, but he would automatically, he'd go up in stature, shall we say, and he'd be more appreciated then. But a really good player. I think he's owed a trade to a big team. Kawhi Leonard, simple, 1 to 6. Not the best player in the league right now for me. A few people might say he is, but I think it's obviously the best player in the league is. Then I've got Ja Morant. This one is a tricky one. You know, he's the same as Zion, but he played more games last year, so that's why I've got him in 13 to 18, more consistent, and I feel like he can just lead a team better. But I could be proven wrong. They're both very young, but I've got Ja Morant 13 to 18, maybe lower end of 13 to 18. Maybe Zion could switch with him even. Like, it's not that big of a difference. Next up is Colin Sexton, thrown at the bottom. I'd say, I'm trying to think who else. I think he is the worst player on this list, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe John Wall is worse. But I think, again, not a debatable decision. He's in the bottom tier. Bradley Beal, I've got him 7 to 12 in the second tier of players balling out this year. He doesn't get enough respect because Steph Curry put up 62, then Bradley Beal put up 60. I think it was 3 or 4 days later, and when Steph Curry did it, everyone's talking about it. When Bradley Beal does it, not that many are talking about it. So he does deserve a little bit more credit, but he has to be second tier for me. Cat. This was another tricky one. I think for a bit I actually had him in the second last tier. I've got him in the middle tier. I haven't seen much of him, if I'm being completely honest. But from what I have seen, very inconsistent. He just, something weird about him. I can't even explain it. It sounds so stupid. But I had him in the second last tier, and then when I had him in the middle tier, I was thinking, should I move him up? But I think the middle tier is fair enough for him right now. He could stay. He's not that old as well, so he can still go up. Kevin Durant, top 6. Probably, if he goes back to the way he was, he could be number 1. If he goes back to how he was and he wins it this year, he could easily go back to number 1. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I've got him in the second last tier because what he's doing this season, especially with the Thunder, I think the Thunder might have a winning record now. They might not, but they're not as bad off as I thought they would be, and he is their main player by far. And he's putting up good numbers, and he's balling out for them, so he's the second last tier for me. He could have been the last tier, but I think I had to push him up. Jeremy Grant, last tier. He was a bit of a weird one, because Denver offering the same money as Detroit, but he wants to be the main player. Obviously, he's the best player in Detroit, that's why he's on this list. But he's putting up some good numbers from what I've seen, but he's still in a team that's 2-9 this season when I'm recording this video anyways. So I think he has to be bottom tier, but I do rate Jeremy Grant, to be fair, I do rate him. Damian Lillard, second tier. I think I said this in my video, I don't know when this video is going up, but the point guard video, the last video I did, he is a bit overrated by some people, but he's a bit underrated by some people as well. The people that go overboard about him being overrated. He is really good. He's not top tier, he's not KD, Kawhi, any of them people, but he is a solid second tier. Trae Young. I seen a couple of reports about him saying a lot of people didn't want to play with him. A few players didn't want to play with him and they thought his decision making was bad and he thinks he's a superstar and he's just new to the league, all that sort of stuff. I've got my middle tier. And he could have been moved down. I don't rate him as highly as a lot of people do, but I think that is fair enough. Him in the middle, but the lower end of the middle. Him and John Morant, both lower end of that middle tier. Gordon Hayward, I put him in the bottom tier, and I could understand people wanting him to go and be moved up a tier. I just couldn't do it because. Yeah, he's on, like when he was with Boston, he was probably their fourth best player. And when you put it like that, I know he's playing pretty well so far, but he was their fourth best player. He's not automatically now because he's the best player in Charlotte going to go up. I think I had to keep him down the bottom. Julius Randle. There's a reason why I chose that picture there with the GOAT. What a player. What a player, man. He has been sensational. He is in the second last tier, but let me explain why he's so low. He should be a lot higher. The only reason is this is only made this season when he's been doing it. If he does this for the rest of the season and the Knicks make the play-ins, or even if they just miss out and he's still putting up the numbers that he's doing, I could understand him going up one, because he's playing at an all-star level, so we have to put him up in the middle tier with the all-stars. So he's been unbelievable, but right now he's in the second last tier. Start of the season, I probably would have put RJ Barrett as our best player, but he has been really good. So I appreciate Julius Randle right now. Let's just say, Darren Fox, bottom tier. Point guard video again. He was near enough to bottoming. He's in meh. I don't rate him too highly. I'm not sure if other people do. I don't see too many people talking about him, but I don't rate him that highly. So I've gone down the bottom. I couldn't put him in meh of point guards, and then all of a sudden, like not put him down the bottom of this of all players, like the best players. Jonathan Isaac. I've put him in the second bottom tier, and I haven't seen much of him. What I have seen, he's good on defense, not that good on offense. But I think he's a little bit underrated by people as well. He's not on that great of a team, but they're still doing pretty well at the moment. I think he might be injured at the moment, or out with COVID or whatever. He's missed the last couple of games. But I do rate Jonathan Isaac, and I think he deserves to be in that second last tier with the players that are there. Steph Curry, get him up the top. Get him up the top. It's not even a question. It was one. Like the top six kind of picked themselves. Maybe the top five. Maybe there's one at the end that maybe people might not agree with. But he has to go in the top one. It's not even a question. I don't even need to explain myself. Everyone knows Steph Curry's in that top tier. Joel Embiid. Some people might put Ben Simmons there. I think I have to put Joel Embiid. I think he's their main man. And Ben Simmons is that nice number two. Still a really good number two, but I think Joel Embiid is the better player. I've got him in the second tier. He's not as good as Curry, KD, but he's not. But then Booker and Jeremy Morant aren't as good as him right now, and he's still young as well. Still getting better. He's a monster. He's got a decent jump shot on him, play defense and everything. So he'll be big for Philly this year because Philly could potentially make a push for a championship, potentially, but I don't see it really manifesting. Next up is Donovan Mitchell. Again, a bit of a weird one. I've got him in the middle, but he's a bit of a weird one because he can be really good, but he doesn't seem to be as consistent as maybe a Devin Booker or someone like that. But I think put him in the middle because when he's on his day, he is really good. If he gets that consistency down and he develops because he's still young enough, he could go up into that 7 to 12 rank. But right now, middle tier I think is fair enough for him because he's not consistent enough, but he is really good. DeMar DeRozan, this is a hard one because he's not on that great of a team again, but he's still playing pretty well. So with the fact that he's not on that good of a team and he's still playing well, I've put him in the second last tier. Probably down the bottom of it though. I'd say he'd be last on that list for me. Yeah, that'd be fair enough. He'd probably be last on that second last tier list. Domantas Sabonis. I have him in the middle. I don't enjoy watching him play basketball. I don't see how people could. He's just not really exciting. He's just very robotic and stuff. But he still puts up good numbers, so you can't complain. You're not going to be like, oh, he's not doing it fancy enough, so you can't put. He's not a good player. He's a really good player. It's just meh, like, but good in a good way. Van Fleet. This was one of the ones. I think this is the only team where I debated myself who the best player was. It was obviously him, Larry, Siakam. I went with Van Fleet, and I'd say a lot of people wouldn't go with Van Fleet. I do rate him though. Someone might go Siakam, but Siakam is just, I think he's so overrated. I think he's the most overrated player in the league. Kyle Lowry's good, but I have Van Fleet over him. But he is still down in the bottom tier, probably around the middle of that bottom tier. Maybe even, I'd say maybe Wall, Sexton, and maybe Grant are behind him, but he's around that middle anyways. Next up is Giannis, into the top one again. Some of these top ones, I think most of the top ones are just plain and obvious. He is ridiculous and underrated as well by a lot of people, but very good. Some people think because he doesn't have that perimeter shot, he's not exactly like everyone else. He's not good all of a sudden. Like, yeah, he has his flaws in that way, but he's still. I seen the other night they played Dallas. I think he was 2 of 5 from 3. Like, he is working on it. You can see there is a bit of progression, and if he keeps going the way he is, I'm not going to say he's going to be. He won't be considered the best player ever, but he will be in a conversation of Michael Jordan, LeBron, maybe Kareem, and then he's that next one below if he continues the way he's going and then wins a few championships, especially if he wins it with Milwaukee. Next up is Jason Tatum. Again, a pretty obvious one. I think he was in the second tier. I couldn't put him in the top tier with the likes of Steph Curry and all. He's a bit inconsistent for me. The same reason Donovan Mitchell isn't up, but he's a bit more consistent and a bit better when he's on form as well. I don't see him leading Boston to anything this season, but again, he's young, can get better. But this season, I can't see it happening. Luka Doncic, easy top. I mean, what a player! I have Dallas to come out of the West. If you see my Western Conference video, and he's going to be the reason why, if they do it. But I've got them to come out of the West. I've got him to do it, but then I've got Brooklyn to win the whole thing in the end. Nikola Jokic. There's only 2 left, him and LeBron, so Jokic does fall into that second tier, but he is top of that second tier. And I actually debated between him and Kawhi. Kawhi hasn't really impressed me that much with the Clippers, but Kawhi plays with Paul George at the same time as well, so you had to cut him a bit slack. But Jokic, right at the top there, so close. Like, if anyone has a bad season, he's automatically taking their place. He's been really good this season as well. And obviously last, LeBron, best player in the league, goes into the top 2. He's a bit covered there, but LeBron is the best player in the league right now. Right now he is. I think by the end of the season, I think it would be pretty unanimous that he's not the best player in the league, without disrespecting LeBron. I think it would be between KD, Giannis, or Luka as the best player in the league, or if Curry goes nuts with the Warriors and they go on a really big winning streak. But Giannis is a bit hated on, so I can't really see people turning all of a sudden going, yeah, we like Giannis now and he's the best player in the league. That won't happen. I think between Luka and KD realistically, but probably KD by the end of the season again. But for now, best player in the league for sure. But yeah, that's the list there. All 30 teams, their best player put in order for me anyways. Let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree or think someone should have been here that's not on the list. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, anything, it means a lot. Thank you.